And then what'd he say? And then what you do? Ooh, girl, I would have died.
It is the only food that koalas eat. They have no natural protein.
No way! Stop it! Oh my.
The word marsupial is from the
I know! Yeah, what? Oh, I'm just making some milkshakes. Milkshake?
paws with claws adapted for climbing in the country of Australia.
Watch your show on any TV in your house with Iris, the new HD multi-room DVR from Rev TV. Start watching in one room and pick up right where you left off in another. Call to get Iris in your house today.
Debate on the constitutional referendum underway as the government makes a few changes. The Prime Minister addresses another wrinkle in the Renward Wells controversy. The BJC and BGC-SC results show students continue to have challenges, and statistics show tourist arrivals are up. Well, you got those stories and more coming up tonight. I'm Dana Smith, and MB12 starts right now. Top in news tonight, debate on the controversial constitutional referendum got underway today with several female members of parliament leading the charge. But with the four bills now before parliamentarians, questions have been raised as to why those changes will not be retroactive to the bills being passed. A cabinet minister today said the main reason may be financial. Kyle Joaquin reports.
State Minister for Legal Affairs Damian Gomez says if passed in the House of Assembly and the Senate, these bills will not run retroactively, and that's mainly because at this moment the government is unsure as to the cost they may acquire as a result of so many people now qualifying for Bahamian citizenship. Damian Gomez, the State Minister for Legal Affairs, says aside from the questions being put to the people in a referendum, the reason why the constitutional amendment changes will not run retroactive is because the government is unsure how much the changes will cost and in effect fall on the backs of the Bahamian people. He says the last thing they want is to incur a huge liability that would have to be passed down to taxpayers.
Well, for instance, if there are persons who would have been paying work permit fees. If it's retroactive, those fees then become refundable. In the current fiscal situation that we're in, that's not a feasible thing to do. By adopting the course that we are adopting, we are able to confer citizenship on those persons on a case-by-case basis without incurring any liability to them in relation to refunds.
Gomez says another concern is the drastic change in the country's population.
Treating applications of persons who would fall in the category that are to be prospectively provided for, but who were born between 73 and now. From a policy perspective, we will be better able to manage the situation.
When asked for his explanation, Prime Minister Perry Christie says they won't run retroactive to being passed in Parliament because he wants there to be unity among parliamentarians before it goes to referendum.
This is the kind of discussion that is predicated on unanimity, or as near to unanimity as possible. The government does not propose to go to a referendum where we're splintered on this. We have to have a single voice to the Bahamian people with respect, most certainly substantially with respect to the issues involved here. And so we want to listen with open minds to what people have to say.
During her lead-off on the debate, Angliston MP Glenys Hannah Martin read the four questions as will be listed on the November 6th referendum. The First Amendment bill seeks to give a child born outside the Bahamas to a Bahamian-born mother and non-Bahamian father the same automatic right to Bahamian citizenship that the Constitution already gives to a child born outside the Bahamas to a Bahamian-born father and a non-Bahamian mother. The Second Amendment bill seeks to enable a Bahamian woman who marries a foreign man to secure the same access to Bahamian citizenship that a Bahamian man enjoys under the Constitution as it relates to his foreign spouse. The third bill seeks to reverse the law that prohibits an unwed Bahamian man from passing his citizenship to his child if he or she is born to a foreign woman. And the final constitutional bill seeks to make it unconstitutional of any public office to discriminate based on sex. Yesterday, DNA leader Brandon McCartney pointed out an issue with the wording of one of the constitutional amendments. He said the government should be careful as they could be making way for same-sex marriage to take place. However, Christie says the government will not change the wording as it is similar to the constitution of many other countries.
But we're very clear, absolutely very clear. In my communication I said it does not involve, does not contemplate, and most certainly with me it won't, same-sex marriages. And so the constitutional changes refers to the Matrimonial Causes Act and refers to the laws that exist in the Bahamas today, and we do not propose to change the fact that a man marries a woman.
The House has adjourned until August 13th when they will continue debate. Reporting for NB12, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Prime Minister Perry Christie is also firmly denying he instructed Bamboo Town MP Renward Wells to sign a letter of intent for a $600 million plus waste-to-energy plant. Christie's comments on the matter have been limited, but today he responded to claims in today's Tribune and those made by several talk show hosts.
To Wells or any other person to sign any such agreement. I deny that. It is preposterous to suggest that I did.
Christie would not say whether or not he would file a lawsuit against McCartney, but he could be seen meeting with his lawyers in the majority room in the House of Assembly. In a statement released later today, the Prime Minister said he instructed his attorneys to take whatever steps they deemed necessary to deal with what he regards as defamation. Wells also weighing in today, denying that it was the Prime Minister who asked him to sign the letter of intent. Opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis today renewed his call for Prime Minister Perry Christie to fire Wells. Dr. Minnis made the comments shortly after the House broke after its morning session. Minnis says Christie is either afraid or unwilling to act.
The FNM demands that the government honor, abide by, and implement fully the sacred covenants, the sacred conventions that bind every cabinet minister and parliamentary secretary. And in the process, we pray that the Prime Minister will find the courage to terminate Wells by creating this financial nightmare for the Bahamian people.
The opinion of Works Ministry Permanent Secretary Colin Higgs was that the letter of intent was more of an expression of interest rather than a letter of intent and does not bind the government to the proposal. Minnis said from his reading of the LOI, Wells signed a binding agreement.
Contrary to the bland and uninformed views of a permanent secretary, I am advised that there could well be a very substantial contingent liability for the government, hinged upon the duty to pay compensation and to indemnify the other party. On behalf of the Bahamian people, the FNM demands a formal statement from the Attorney General on the issue of whether or not the letter of intent signed by Wells created a substantial contingent liability for the government.
Well, cases of the mosquito-borne chikungunya virus have spread from the island of New Providence. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Delon Brannon confirming today that there are now 2 confirmed cases of chikungunya on Grand Bahama Island. This as he reveals the number of cases have increased over the past week. Our Jasmine Brown has the details in this report.
Officials revealing that more cases of chikungunya have been confirmed. And to help stop the spread, they've been beefing up their educational campaign by handing out pamphlets like this one. But despite their best efforts, more new cases are being reported. According to Dr. Brannon, 4 new cases have been reported in the last week. Brannon says there are now 21 confirmed cases in total. 19 of those cases are in New Providence. The remaining 2 are in Grand Bahama.
The numbers are still growing, but slowly.
Officials reveal the first case in June was found in a male tourist believed to have contracted the virus in the Dominican Republic. Since then, the number has steadily increased. Dr. Brannon says the Ministry of Health is closely monitoring who is being infected and in which areas. From the information the ministry has gathered, he says the most common areas are those that are highly populated, including Central and South New Providence.
For the moment, the two areas that are most concerning to us are the sort of Faith Avenue, Southwest New Providence area, along with the Angliston area and sort of the middle of sort of our population density on what people might consider the inner city. The good thing is that we are continuing our surveillance activities, and those confirmed cases were in areas where we were having it before, so it's not as though it's spreading rapidly throughout the entire island or throughout the country.
Brennan says the ministry is continuing its educational campaign, which he says appears to be working, considering the chickpea outbreak is much smaller than the dengue fever outbreak in 2011. That year, health officials confirmed more than 7,000 cases of dengue fever.
I definitely think there are more people who are aware of the situation now, and so when we started ramping up our efforts and bringing them to the realization that similar things as to what happened with dengue is what needed to happen this time as well, people responded and have continued to respond very well. So they are very much receptive to the information. They want us to come in and have talks with them. They want to call in and let us know what's going on. So they're being good stewards of their own communities, and they're letting us know that there may be an issue with my neighbor, so you may want to check this out as well.
Dr. Brennan says healthcare providers continue to screen for the virus. He adds that the ministry has set up testing at clinics and the Princess Margaret Hospital to screen for chickpea. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Brown.
When NB12 returns, Bahamian students continue to score C and D averages. Stay with us.